All right, so week 2 of shock loading with the heavy sandbag is in the books. Just building strength and adaptation to be able to lift a weight like this. In case you're new to the channel, I'm on a pursuit to sandbag to shoulder 300 pounds at a body weight between 190 and 196 pounds. But not only to shoulder it once, but to overall handle weight like that for volume over and over again. In these videos, I discuss the daily training and show you what I'm doing to reach this goal. And this is a recap of the entire week of training. The special part of this week is that a monkey wrench is thrown into it with 2 Jiu Jitsu classes on top of training. No, I didn't film myself getting choked out by a black belt or getting rolled over the top of my neck, but I'm going to talk about how that went and how I'm working towards balancing that with training and recovery. So let's get into it. I like starting the week off right out of the gate with heavy sandbag stuff on a Monday. That's when I've just come off 3 rest and active recovery days, and the body is as fresh as it can be. Volume and rep scheme is the same as the first week with 10 sets of 3, but the only difference is I added a longer pause at the top to get used to having weight that high. On the sandbag to shoulder, I think the most demanding part of the lift, and I believe the most time is spent, is the transition from the chest to the shoulder, especially with a heavier sandbag. This is just a component of the development to get ready to shoulder sandbags this heavy pretty often. What's important to me personally about progressing into bulkier, heavier sandbags isn't a PR, but being able to move the bag over and over again and to build the work capacity of a machine. PRs are an awesome feat, don't get me wrong, but being able to handle volume at weight like that is my favorite aspect of it. So that's what I'm really chasing in these pursuits after reaching new feats and PRs. A more fun way I like to do this is to change up the rep schemes every week. This one was just a 10 down to 1 superset of ring pull-ups and single arm kettlebell dead snatches. One thing I like to do with this stuff is I like to vary the tempo up from set to set for both exercises. One set I'll do the snatches from a dead stop, and then the next set I'll touch and go and do it a little faster, more explosively. On the pull-ups, some sets I'll do the pull-ups quicker, and then some of them I'll pause at the top. If I'm doing a drop set, decreasing the reps every set, when the reps get lower, I like to add something extra on both exercises. In this one here, I added some L pull-ups and hands-free Turkish get-ups after the snatches. It's a little bit of core stimulation there. Adding that bit of extra as the workout is wrapping up definitely keeps it fun and allows us to get some work in on different things while staying minimal with the main moves. I've just grown to become more minimal with the kettlebell and calisthenics work overall. Compared to what I used to do, the sessions like this used to be like 3 supersets or giant sets of moves, but I found narrowing down the basics or stuff I want to work on, like the pull-ups with snatches and the swing and push and single arm press, really covers everything that I'm getting out of these modalities, which is conditioning, explosiveness, stability, relative strength, and unilateral work, especially press work in a pull-dominated workout split with the sandbag. Plus, a little active recovery in a way between the heavy sandbag work to stay primed for that each session. So this session was done on a Tuesday morning. That evening I went and tried Jiu Jitsu for the first time ever. Conditioning-wise, it's pretty intense and a different feeling for sure. The stamina was there to keep up and I didn't get tired. I was also doing this about 14 hours fasted as well. I sparred with a brown belt and then did the last round with a black belt. Felt like being strangled by an anaconda. When those guys do their thing, especially me not knowing anything about technique, it's lights out. And it starts getting real when the pressure starts being applied on your neck when they get you in a chokehold. I got thrown and tumbled over the top of my neck and took a midweek rest day the next day, then came back Thursday with a heavy sandbag. So I made a tiny bit of progress from the first week with this one. The first week I did 8 sets of upright and then had to do vertical picks on the last 2 sets because I had trouble getting it on my lap for the 8th attempt. I just wanted to show a community spotlight and highlight this comment on one of my recent shorts showing a failed attempt at this move. I think if I were to get herniated discs from doing this, I would already have them by now. There has been a ton of work and adaptation built to be able to do this lift at this weight. I'm no chiropractor or therapist, and I don't really know that much about how the lower back can be injured from lifting or what causes slip discs. I just know you got to keep it close to your body and you won't have problems. There's always going to be some kind of risk of injury doing anything like this, but something I've learned from my time doing this is that it's done nothing to my lower back and spine, but make every muscle around it, like the core, the upper back and legs, posterior chain, stronger and denser, possibly protecting my spine in a way. On top of doing this and everything else, I also have a good system of recovery and care for the spine with consistent back bridges, dead hangs, and deep hip mobility. If you keep that in check, I don't think you'll have many problems. As for it being an ego lift, I've been through the ringer and the humbling to be able to do this lift 10 times at this weight in a session. My scrawny ass didn't just wake up one day and just try this and film it to get attention because I'm insecure. I think people jump to conclusions a lot when they don't know or understand the full picture here, especially when some of my shorts leak out into the algorithm of the mainstream masses. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So this sandbag session was done in the early morning hours, and I went to a second Jiu Jitsu session that same evening. It was intense and rough, with 5 rounds of 10 minutes of sparring. I paired up with another beginner to start off until I rolled over my ankle wrong and popped the crap out of it. I sat out for a bit and finished the remainder with a higher ranking belt. I had to ice my ankle after. I've found that it can be dangerous for 2 beginners to be sparring because neither really know what they're doing, and being paired with someone that knows what they're doing, they'll show you the ropes and the risk of injury drops tremendously. There's more control there, and I woke up the next day with a throbbing ankle and a bit of neck pain from being choked out. It's just part of it, so I deal with it and get through it. I don't look for excuses not to do something or learn something new because of what risks are involved. Pain's an elixir for growth and many things, and that's how my brain is wired. Call me crazy if you want to. So I got up the next morning and did a kettlebell swing and push session with a throbbing ankle. So the purpose of this swing and push session was for active recovery and blood flow. This is half and not anywhere near the usual volume I normally do this at. This week I had some new things added in that I'm not used to, so I always listen to my gut when I'm not feeling 100% and lighten the training down when needed. There's no shame in that. Sometimes I don't train at all if it gets too bad. Seems like something that's ingrained in the culture is more, do more. But I've learned that in order to keep an overall demanding routine like this and building strength in the process requires patience and control. I could absolutely obliterate myself every week with the heavy sandbag and everything else, but I'll just hit a wall and need to deload more often. So that wraps up week 2 of heavy sandbag shock loading with a monkey wrench thrown in there. The normal routine was kind of mixed up and botched a little bit. From here on out, it'll be a process of dialing it in with Jiu Jitsu on top of regular training. I'm only doing that for 2 months though, as my current life situation doesn't let me make long-term commitments like that. That's why I stopped doing CrossFit. I was forced to miss too many days and I didn't get to train as much as I wanted to. Plus it's expensive as well. So here I am with the sandbag, doing it on my own and these other little sinister tools I got here. If you want to train, get strong and fit, you got to find a way when a gym membership is not an option. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, anything to add, please leave it in the comments. Thank you for being here, and I'll see y'all next week.